Do you like epic games, games that tell a story? Do you look for these unique PlayStations that you'll remember for 20 years? Hello fellow gamers, I'm Jean-Michel Grosjeu and you're watching my series of videos where I tackle the rules of heavy games. And not only the rules, also some few basic strategies to help you feel comfortable at the game table. So here we go, it's time to overcome my delicious French accent and take a seat together in front of that heavy game box. Welcome my friends, I'm Jean-Michel Grosjeu. Hello my heavy gamer friends, and today just before your eyes, brace yourself, I'm about to tackle the rules of a monument of board gaming. And when I say a monument, I mean a true monument, a piece of history, a holy grail for a lot of us heavy gamers. Today, I will teach you the full rule set of Magic Realm, a game designed by Richard Hamblen and published in 1979 by the Avalon Hill Game Company. Richard Hamblen is the renowned author of two games in my personal top 10, Gunslinger and Magic Realm, and so I'm very happy to dedicate this series of videos to his work. Magic Realm is one of the first games that tried to fit the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing experience into a board game. And since a lot of other games tried the achievement, but still, more than 40 years later, no one did better than Magic Realm. Magic Realm is not a paragraph-driven game. It is not a campaign nor a legacy game. It is not a combat-driven dungeon crawler. It's not an exploration game. And it's not even close to a role-playing game. No, Magic Realm is truly unique. It's a sandbox universe, a game where you decide if you want to cooperate or fight other players, a game where you decide what your goals are, a world with its own logic, a world that you will have to learn in order to survive. And yes, I know, Magic Realm is a complex game. And for many, it is the most complex game ever published. Perhaps. But in fact, that's exactly the reason why it can recreate such an immersive open fantasy world on your game table. Yes, you'll have to learn a lot of rules, but if you look for a complex and rich world, you need complex and rich rules. And in this respect, Magic Realm is the best of all. Luckily, from now on, you won't be alone anymore because Jean-Michel Grosjeu won't let you alone in front of such a monster. My goal with this series of videos is to help you playing an actual game of Magic Realm without even opening its rulebook. You watch my videos, you play the game. It's as simple as that. And moreover, I hope my series of videos will also help you to convince and to gather your friends around your game table. Now, as you can guess, such an old game from the late 70s is not published anymore and is very hard to find. But there is a very nice print and play version that you can craft. You'll find the link in the video description. So, you can decide right now to build your own version and play it next weekend. In my video, I will use the original Avalon Hill map, cards and counters. And so let's jump right in. Here is an actual Magic Realm game table, and you can see three zones: the map, the setup card, and the player zone. Let's look at the map first. The map is made of hexagonal tiles. On each tile there are several clearings connected by path. As we will see, player characters move only through path. So some clearings are connected while others are not. A bridge, for example, is not a crossing, and sometimes you will have to go all the way around to reach your destination. Before leaving for your journey in the Magic Realm, you should always watch the map to figure out the clearings network you will follow through your adventures. There are three kinds of clearings: standard clearings on floor level, cave clearings under the ground, and mountain clearings above the ground. All these clearings are connected by regular path. Regular path can be underground, but also by bridges or by brownish hidden path and black secret passages. Okay, And thus, on this map, you, as a character, move from a clearing to another, exploring the magic realm in search of, let's say, a forgotten altar where it is said that fabulous treasures are hidden. Through your journey, you can take a rest in dwellings where you meet people, denizens of the magic realm. Sometimes on your way, you find clues of hostile lurking creatures, some scattered bones or the remnants of a meal. You hear strange and frightening noises, often nothing but a false alarm, but sometimes an actual monster, a pair of trolls out of their cave, or a tremendous dragon hunting close to his lair. And so each player plays the role of a fantasy character depicted by a card with her equipment, weapons and armors, and a lot of cheats she will use to move, fight and cast spells. Just know, for now, that the game is played day by day. At the beginning of each turn, players plan their day by writing their activities on their personal history pad. This paper sheet is also the document where each player notes what she earned in the magic realm, gold, fame and notoriety, and what she discovered, secret passages, treasure locations and so on. At the beginning of the game, players secretly choose their own goals and write them in the bottom corner of their personal pad. These are their personal hidden victory conditions. And finally, the third zone of our game table is the setup card. You could see it as the AI of the magic realm. It is a complex table that handles everything that will happen during your journey. At the beginning of the game, all treasures and all spells are randomly assigned to locations in the magic realm. The same goes for more mundane items and the people who can sell them. Of course, a large number of treasures cannot be simply purchased from peaceful merchants. Most of the treasures are kept by monsters. And voila, here is the setup card. And here is a fully dressed game table for Magic Realm. And looking at this screen, you can now understand what makes this game so unique. Look, from the beginning of the game, all treasures, all items, all monsters and denizens, all the game components are here, either on the map or on the setup card, ready to enter the game. And from the beginning of the game, all players perfectly know what opponents they will meet and approximately where. So, in a sense, we can say that Magic Realm is not really an exploration game. Let's dig further into the rules. I'm sure you will understand what I mean. And first, how do you win the game? Okay, Magic Realm is a sandbox game. Players are free to do whatever they want. Players are even free to choose their own goals. But still, at game end, there is only one winner. Remember, on the bottom right corner of every player's personal history pad, there is a special section dedicated to this player's personal goals. There are 5 possible things a character can dream of: great treasures, spells, fame, notoriety, and gold. But at the beginning of the game, each player must secretly choose the weight he will give to each of these categories. He must choose how each kind of goal is valuable for himself. In practice, he must divide 5 points between these 5 categories. He can assign 1 point each, or for example, if he is a fierce warrior, he can just run for fame and notoriety. From then, the table computes how much of each category you must actually earn during the game. For 1 point in the Great Treasure category, you must find 1 Great Treasure. For 1 point in the Spell category, you must learn 2 new spells. 1 in the Fame category, and you must earn a Fame value of 10. 1 point in the Notoriety category stands for a Notoriety value of 20. And finally, with 1 point in the Gold category, you will have to find 30 gold coins. And so, in our previous example, our fierce warrior would have to earn a fame of 20 and a notoriety of 60. Fine, you know how to adapt your goals to the character you've chosen and also to your own tastes and the flavor you want to give to your game. But what exactly do these categories mean? Great treasures are treasures with a red dot. In the game, there are large and small treasures. Large treasures are shown by a golden dot. Great treasures can be small or large, and the only thing you know is that the red dotted great treasures you seek are more likely to be found among the large treasures. But all large treasures are held by tremendous monsters, so in order to find them, you must first find one of the 8 possible treasure locations: the hoard, the lair, the altar, the shrine, the pool, the vault, the cairns, or the statue. And then you must loot this location without being eaten alive by its tremendous guardian. Small treasures are easier to find. Some can even be bought from people at dwellings without having to fight or take any risk. And you understand the deal. If you choose this victory condition, you'd better be lucky or ready to fight tremendous monsters. Another possible goal is to learn spells. Spells are usually found in magical books, but also in magical artifacts, or even carved on the walls of some treasure locations. Spell books being small treasures, spells are usually easier to find than great treasures. But here the problem is that your character must be able to learn the spells he finds. That's why we talk about usable spells. I promise I will teach you how magic works in a following video, but for now, just know that there are 8 types of magic and that a given character can use only some of these types. Here, for example, the wizard can cast only type 2, 3 or 4 spells. So, for example, if the wizard finds this spell in a magic book, it cannot count toward his victory conditions because it's a type 8 spell that the wizard cannot learn. And when he finds a spell of a type he knows, he still must learn it to earn the victory points. And don't worry, we will see later how it all works. Now let's see the 2 next possible goals together because they are very close: fame and notoriety. In fact, you should see fame as good press and notoriety as bad press. A character with a lot of fame can be seen as a popular hero, while a character with a lot of notoriety would be closer to a famous villain. Mainly, you earn both fame and notoriety by killing monsters. Owning magical treasures gives notoriety, but often gives negative fame. Magic is not a good thing for heroes. Some very specific items, like the Sacred Grail, gives a lot of fame if you bring them back to their owner. You'll earn 50 points of fame if you bring the Sacred Grail back to the Order, a group of knights living at the chapel. You can also gain notoriety, but only notoriety, by killing people and even by killing other players' characters. And finally, there is gold. But beware, in Magic Realm, unlike in many role-playing games, monsters don't carry money. You won't earn gold coins by killing a giant bat or a dragon. No, the only way to earn gold is to sell items and treasures to the people of the Magic Realm. And you must sell the item to convert it into gold. The gold value of an item doesn't count toward your final gold score. You actually have to give your treasures and items to merchants to get real gold. There are also 2 missions you can do that can earn you a wage. At the end of the game, when computing the total gold you earned, you must subtract the 10 gold you had at the beginning of the game and also the cost of all your starting equipment. The White Knight starts the game with 10 gold, a great sword worth 10 gold, and a full armor worth 17 gold. So he will subtract 37 gold from his final total. And that means you can end the game with negative gold. Okay, and now how to decide who wins the game. At the beginning of the game, you choose your personal goals by splitting 5 points between the 5 victory categories. A game of Magic Realm lasts 28 days, that is 28 game turns. After that, the game is over and each player checks his final earnings in each category. Here, the White Knight found 4 great treasures, he learned no spell, He gains some fame and notoriety, and he finishes the game with 30 gold, but minus the 37 from his initial goal and equipment. That gives a final total of minus 7 gold. Okay, now we compute the difference between what he achieved and what was his goal. And because you must achieve your goal, every time the difference is negative, this negative score is multiplied by 3. Then, all these values are divided by their weight. Remember, in terms of victory, 20 notoriety, for example, is worth 2 spells. So we have to divide by these weights, 20 or 2, to be able to compare all these achievements. Okay, this total shows how successful the character is compared to his initial goals. But we can see that he earned 1 victory point for fame, although it was not one of his goals. So now, a bonus is added as a specific reward for meeting the objectives. All these total values are multiplied by the points the player initially assigned. And now it's easy, you add the total and the bonus, and your final score is the sum of all the 5 categories. If the final score is negative, like for the White Knight in our example, that means that this character didn't achieve his personal goals. This can be seen as a defeat for the White Knight. A player with a final score greater than 0 can be satisfied, he has reached his objectives, he won his own personal game, and from that point on, the player with the largest positive score is the winner, the best of them all. I agree, these calculations can seem a little bit convoluted, but they show in a rather accurate way how your character succeeds in reaching his goals. In Magic Realm, killing monsters and earning fame and money is important, but the most important is to do what you originally decided from the beginning of the game. And now that you know what you have to do during your 28 days in the Magic Realm, now it's time at last to jump into the wild and get out for adventure. Okay, this is a little piece of the Magic Realm. We will play the captain. He starts the game at the house. And then it is day 1. What does he do? How does he start? A game day, a game turn, is divided in 3 sections: birdsong, daylight and evening. At birdsong, all players simultaneously plan their day by writing down activities for their characters. Each player just writes, according to some easy syntax rules we will learn soon, all the activities his characters will do during the day. Then, during daylight, in a random order, characters do their activities according to their plan. Note that when players write down these activities at birdsong, they don't know yet in what order their characters will play during daylight. And finally, in the evening, this is when battles are fought. That means that nobody ever fights during daylight. All players first do their activities, and when everyone is done, battles can happen. So, let's start. This is the first morning of the first day. As any player, I have a personal history pad that is a sheet of paper on which I will note all the information related to my character. And especially, that's where I will note, turn after turn, the activities my captain will do. So first, I write my character's class, he is a captain, then I give him the 10 gold coins every player owns at the beginning of the game. And I start writing his first activity for his first day. The first thing you can do in the Magic Realm is simply to walk around. This is the move activity. Very easy to write. You write the letter M, M for move, followed by the name of the clearing your character moves to. Here you want that your captain moves full north to the next clearing. This clearing is number 2 on the Pinewoods tile. So its name is PW2, Pinewoods number 2. And this is my captain's first activity for the day. Luckily, he can do more than that. Every day, a character can do 4 activities. In fact, 2 basic activities plus 2 sunlight activities. Why sunlight? Because you cannot get these two bonus activities if you are in or if you enter into a cave clearing, a clearing which is under the ground level. So, I can order 4 moves for my captain. After Pinewoods Clearing 2, he will go to Pinewoods Clearing 4, then to the next tile, Bat Valley Clearing 4, and finally, Awful Valley Clearing 1. And that's it for Birdsong. Our captain didn't move yet. He is still inside the house, but he has a plan for the day. He will move 4 clearings in a round trip to the Awful Valley. Of course, he will follow the path. He cannot, for example, go from clearing 2 to clearing 5 on the Pinewood style. If such a move is ordered, the character will just skip it during daylight. One mistake does not stop your day. The erroneous activity is simply skipped. When all players have finished their birdsong planning, this is daylight. And when it is the captain's turn, the daylight player order is randomized. The captain does all his moves, one by one, as planned. It is mandatory, it is too late to change your mind. And voila! And because there is no battle, not yet, our first day in the magic realm is over. It was somewhat a nice walk in the forest, wasn't it? Okay, and for the second day, let's walk a little bit further. Today, plans for the captain are to move to Awful Valley Clearing number 4, then Borderland Clearing number 5, and then he cannot go further because Borderland Clearing 5 is a cave clearing below ground level. There are 3 such cave clearings on the Borderland tile, and as soon as the character starts or ends a move in a cave clearing, he loses the possibility of 2 sunlight activities for this turn. Only the 2 basic activities are allowed. Our captain must stop in this clearing. During daylight, he moves as planned, and that's all for day 2. Day 3, the captain has the same problem. Because he starts in a cave clearing, he cannot use his 2 sunlight activities. He plans 2 moves and executes them at daylight. Now, day 4, the captain is out of the cave. He can again use his full capacity of 4 activities, and he would like to climb this mountain to the north. Beware, a mountain clearing is any clearing surrounded by a grey mountain pattern. That means that on this tile, only 4 clearings are mountain clearings. The other 2 clearings are at ground level. And so, what does it mean? It means that after his first move, the captain will have to climb the mountain and it takes time. To enter a mountain clearing, you need 2 move activities, twice the same. And your character will actually enter the clearing with the second move activity. And then, our captain cannot move any further because he would need 2 more moves to enter the next mountain clearing and he has only 1 activity left. He cannot order 1 move now and the other the following day. No, to enter a mountain clearing, you need 2 consecutive moves on the same day. And that's it, you know how to move your character through the magic realm. Now, an adventurer barely travels empty-handed. The captain, for example, begins the game with a short sword, a helmet, a breastplate, and a shield. And each of these pieces of equipment has a weight. This is the letter on each token. There are 5 possible weights. If there is no letter on the item, its weight is negligible. Then, in increasing order, L stands for light, M for medium, H for heavy, and T for tremendously heavy. Here, the captain carries 3 medium weight items and 1 light. As long as he doesn't move, a character can own all items he wants. But if he moves, he must be able to carry along his equipment. He must have enough strength, enough muscles to carry it. What is a character's strength? Every character owns a set of 12 cheats that represent his capacity to act. The captain has move and fight cheats. Other characters have also magic cheats, but the captain is not able to use magic. The strength of a character, that is, the heaviest weight he can carry, is equal to his highest move cheat. Highest in terms of weight letter. There is a weight letter on each move cheat. All the captain's move sheets bear the letter M. That means the highest weight the captain can carry is M, medium. He is not a very strong man, but here it is okay. Its heaviest piece of equipment is of medium weight, so he can carry it. And note that the number of items doesn't matter, nor does the number of move sheets. With a single medium move sheet, the captain can carry as many medium items he wants. The captain has also fight sheets with a higher strength, but fight sheets don't count toward carrying capacity, only move sheets. Numbers and stars on the move sheets don't matter either. For carrying capacity, only the letter is relevant. The move sheet itself is not used nor discarded, it stays on the character's cards and can be used for carrying capacity as long as you want. If the captain finds or buys this crossbow, for example, he cannot move with it because the crossbow is heavy and the highest move sheet on his card is of medium strength. As soon as the captain does a move activity, he must abandon his crossbow in the clearing he leaves. Beware, you cannot cancel an activity you plan during birdsong. In daylight, if you realize that you cannot carry your crossbow, it's too late. You must stick with your plan, move and abandon any item you cannot carry. These rules are very important. They are key to understanding your character. If you play the woods girl, for example, her strongest move sheet being a light one, she cannot carry any item heavier than light. That means she cannot even buy a medium bow, and she won't be able to carry most of the treasures she will discover. So, think twice before assigning her to find great treasures as her victory conditions. But don't worry, there are solutions. As we will see later, she could get a pack horse or find magical boots and so on. But still, her light carrying capacity is a problem you can't ignore. Okay, go on. You know how to move through the magic realm, but why? Where do you have to go? Let's first consider the most common goal for an adventurer. Mainly, characters travel the path of the magic realm in search of treasures. So, where can you find treasures? At the beginning of the game, all treasures are on the setup card, mainly inside 8 hidden treasure locations. The hoard, the lair, the altar, the shrine, the pool, the vault, the cairns and the statue. There are some other ways to find treasures, but for now, let's keep it simple. So first, before looking for treasures, you should look for treasure locations. They are represented by 8 so-called golden sheets. In fact, they are orange. Through a sophisticated process of game setup that we will see in our last video, these sheets are randomly assigned to tiles face down. Okay, our captain is on some clearing in the Awful Valley, and because we can see a face down sheet on the next tile, let's say the captain knows there is perhaps some place of interest up there. It's a bird song, he plans his day. First, he will move to the cave tile, because the character must be on the same tile than a location sheet in order to find it. And then, quite simply, he will search. This is the search activity. In order to plan it, you just have to write an S letter on your character's personal pad. And because the captain will be in a cave clearing, he doesn't get the 2 sunlight activities and must stop after just 2 activities for this turn. Next, during daylight, the captain moves to the cave. And he searches. Searching means rolling dice on a search table. There are several search tables, but the most common one is the locate table. And before going further, we must stop to talk about dice rolls, because in this game, the way you roll dice is unique. Every time the rules ask for a dice roll, you always do the same. You roll 2 dice and keep only one, the one with the highest value. So, if you roll a 2 and a 4, the result is 4. Thus, the chance is higher to get a high value. On the locate search table, the captain has more than half a chance to find nothing, and that's what happens on his first roll. He failed, and this is the end of his daylight. Now, every time a character ends his daylight phase, all cheats on his tile are turned face up. This doesn't require any search activity or any dice roll. It is mandatory and automatic. Here, the cheat is the lair location, the dragon's lair. Every location cheat is numbered. Here, the number 3 shows that the lair is located in clearing 3. From now on, the cheat stays face up. We will see later that it can bring monsters to the tile, but for the moment, let's forget about monsters, let's keep it simple. Next turn, Birdsong. The captain decides to stay here in the caves. He has no sunlight activity, so he can only record 2. He searches twice. Now it's daylight. First search, he rolls a 4. He gets the result Discover Cheats. What does it mean? On his personal sheet, each character has a list of all treasure locations he can discover. In order to explore and dig into a location to loot its treasures, a player must have discovered it. He must have marked this location in his own personal list, and to do that, he must be in the treasures locations clearing and get a discover result on the locate search table. In our example, the captain did get a discover result, but he is not in the right clearing, the lair's clearing, so he cannot yet mark the lair on his list and cannot yet explore and loot the dragon's lair. Go on. He searches a second time and rolls a 3. He finds passages. That means that he discovers any secret passages that lead to his clearing. And look, there is a secret passage between clearings 3 and 2. On each character's sheet, there is a list of all existing secret passages. And as the captain discovers the secret passage between clearings 3 and 2 on the cave tile, he marks the corresponding entry. From now on, and until the end of the game, he can move through this secret passage as if it were a standard path. Next day, the captain can plan a move through the secret passage and then a search activity to at last discover the dragon's lair. At daylight, he actually moves, then rolls the dice. To discover the lair, he must get a 4. A result of 3 is not okay, even if it is more difficult to get. If the captain rolls a 1, he can choose whatever result he wants from all possible results on the locate table. So he chooses the Discover Cheat result and he can, at last, mark the discovery of the dragon's lair on his personal sheet. And voila! In 2 days, thanks to the search activity, the captain found the secret passage and the dragon's lair. From now on and until the end of the game, he will keep the knowledge of these 2 discoveries. Note that there is a last possible result on the locate table, and it is passages and clues. 2 results in one. First, he discovers all secret passages that lead to his clearing. We already saw that. And clues means that he can have a look to any face-down cheats on his tile, but without revealing them. Strange, isn't it? As we know, every cheat on the character's tile is flipped face up at the end of daylight. So, what does it change to peek at the face-down cheat before flipping it face up anyway? Let's get another example. Remember, I told you that sometimes cheats do bring monsters to the tile. We will see later how it works, but just know for the moment that flipping a cheat face up can be a dangerous business. Here, the captain is in the Dark Valley and he would like to know if it's worth going to the Deep Woods in search for treasures. There is a face-down cheat on the Deep Woods tile and the captain doesn't want to take the risk to flip the cheat and trigger some monster's attack. So, here is what he does. He plans his activities and at daylight, the captain moves to the Deep Woods and searches twice. His hope is to get a peek at the cheat. He will get this result on a roll of 4, as we know, but also on a roll of 2 because that's what means the word clues. He misses his first roll and gets a 2 on his second roll. So he takes a look at the cheat. He knows that the cairns are in clearing 5, but he lets it face down before moving out of the tile as planned. And because he's not in the deep woods anymore at the end of his daylight phase, he doesn't trigger the flipping of the cheat, which stays face down and doesn't take the risk of triggering any monster's attack. Fine, you know how to search for treasure locations, but what you are looking for are treasures, not just their locations. So now let's finish the job. We go back to our previous example. The captain found a secret passage that leads to the dragon's lair, then he discovered the lair itself, and now he's ready to loot it for actual treasures. He plans his next turn. Search, search, he spends all his available time searching the dragon's lair. During daylight, in the darkness of the dragon's lair, because he already marked the lair's discovery on his personal sheet, at the moment he has to resolve his search activity, he can choose to roll on another table, the loot table. Note that the player chooses what search table he will use just at the moment he executes his search activity. He doesn't have to write on his sheet at birdsong which kind of search he will use. Okay, now you remember that there is a stack on the setup card for each treasure location. The lair's stack holds 7 treasures. It also holds a tremendous dragon, but for now, the dragon is not on the map. Monsters on the setup card are wandering in the woods or in the caves. We don't know where the dragon exactly is, but it is not in its lair. As long as the monster is not on the map, it is not dangerous. The captain can start his search. He rolls 2 dice and keeps the highest as usual. This gives a 4. So he finds the 4th treasure counting from the top of the treasures pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. The captain takes the treasure and looks secretly at what it is. It is a pair of power boots. Good news, it's a good treasure. Then he rolls for his second search, a loot again in the lair's treasure pile. He got a 3, third treasure from the top. 1, 2, 3, and it's a great treasure with a red dot. That means that if the captain chose great treasures as his victory conditions, he just won 1 point toward the 5 victory points he needs. It's easy, isn't it? Note that on setup, large treasures are put on top of treasure piles. So, for example, in the dragon's lair, there are 7 treasures, of which the top 3 are large. So, you need to roll low to get the large treasures that are usually, but not always, more valuable. But according to the dice roll system, you roll 2 and keep the highest. Low numbers are more difficult to roll, so the best treasures are more difficult to loot. Now there are only 5 treasures left in the lair's pile. If, next day, the captain or another character can search again on the loot table in the lair, if he rolls a 6, he should take the 6th treasure from the top and would get nothing because there are only 5 treasures. The fewer treasures in a pile, the harder they are to loot. And that's it. You know how to find treasures in the magic realm. Let's just summarize to be sure you have a clear mind on the matter. First, you must find a treasure location. There are 8 in the whole realm, only in tiles with 6 clearings, mountain, caves and the deep woods. And they look like face-down cheats. So, you first have to move to the tile, this is a move activity, and flip the chip face up automatically at the end of a daylight phase. Then move again to the exact clearing where the treasure location is. And there, all you have to do is to keep on searching, first to discover the treasure location itself and mark it on your personal history pad, then to loot this treasure location and get its treasures. And voila, and I would say there is nothing more to know. We are very close to the end of this first video, just a few words now on how to use the items and treasures you found. There are 3 kinds of items your character will carry: weapons, armors and treasures. As soon as a character finds or buys a new item, he must decide if this item is active or inactive. An active item is put on the character's card, and that means this item is currently in use. If it's a weapon, it is in the character's hand. If it's an armor, the character is wearing it. An inactive item besides the character's card is in the character's backpack. It is not in use. A treasure must be revealed if active, but can stay face down, secret if inactive. Beware, whether an item is active or inactive, the character must carry it anyway. Remember, your character's carrying capacity is the strength of his best move cheat. If the swordsman owns an item heavier than medium, he can still use it but not move with it out of his clearing. Okay, now let's see when and how a character can equip himself, what item he can wear or use, and when he can rearrange his belongings. First, as long as he can carry them, a character can own as many inactive items as he wants. And don't forget that he just has to own one strong enough move cheat to carry all his items. Active items are limited to one weapon, one armor of each type, that is one helmet, one breastplate, one shield and one suit of armor. And yes, you can wear a breastplate and a suit of armor. And the character can have as many other active items as he wants. Easy to remember, only items on round tokens are limited. Just when a character finds or buys an item, he can freely choose if this item is active or inactive. And from this point on, he can only rearrange his belongings at the beginning of an activity, one of his own activities, so during daylight, before performing any previously written activity. All characters can also rearrange their belongings at the end of the evening, that is, after all combats are over. Every time a character can rearrange his items, he can also abandon them in his clearing. That's important to notice because that means that at any other moment you cannot abandon your items. Okay, so you are a character in a clearing, where you loot an item from a treasure location. As soon as you loot it, you take the item on your character's card, active or inactive. Then, every turn before any activity or at the end of the evening, you can rearrange your items between active or inactive. You can also abandon them, but then, where do they go? They go to a special items pile in the clearing, the abandoned items pile. This pile is different from the treasure's location, but still, these abandoned items are lost and must be searched to be found again. So now, when a character performs the search activity in this clearing, he must choose whether he loots the treasure location pile or the abandoned items pile. Note that the abandoned pile does not have to be discovered by a search roll on the locate table like for a treasure location. Note also that every time an item is abandoned in the same clearing, it is added to the bottom of the abandoned pile. Remember, on the loot table, items close to the top of a pile are more difficult to find. That means that the more recently abandoned items are always easier to find. And finally, if two characters share the same clearing, both players can exchange items every time one of them can rearrange, that is, at the beginning of any activity of any of the two characters, or at the end of the evening. Of course, both characters must agree. And voila, this is some kind of the life cycle of any items in the game. And now you can move, you can search, you can find treasures and deal with items. But it happens that in the magic realm, you are not alone, and that will be the topic of our next video. So take your breath and come again. You are always welcome chez Jean-Michel Grosjeu.